Okay.
This good to go?
Looks good. Grab up. Hold on, please. Now stand up, please.
Carrots outside.
Carrots outside. Not going to work today. I think stone bottom.
Yeah.
No, you didn't go me so yesterday. Not going to use more now.
Okay, so this is the scrap here. This is the entire piece. We'll weigh it out, and we want to make sure that we hit the right ratio of scrap to meat so that we know we didn't take too much of the meat off. It should come in relatively this clean. If it ever comes in and there's so much extra fat on it, then we want to make a call to me or the vendor so we can make sure that the spec hasn't changed. But this is how this product should typically come in. Some of these pieces are puffy fat or soft fat. They don't need to be trimmed off. They'll render out when we cook that on the grill, but some of these pieces that look a little bit more silvery do need to come off, so I give it one more pass at the very end just to make sure that I've brought everything off. This little very end chunk piece here can come off. Now when we go to cut steak tips, anything that's thinner than your thumb, you're going to trim off for something different. So you're not going to use this very end piece here and fold it over for steak tips. Instead, it's thinner than my thumb, so I'm going to remove this little piece here and use this for something different. The very end piece here is thinner than my thumb. I'm going to remove that for something different. Over here as well, this end piece just happens to be very thin. So I'm going to remove that, use that for something different. This is my usable trim. Okay. It's a little thin here in the middle, but I think we can still get a cut or two of steak tips out of that. We'll check it one more time to see how much additional trimming we need to do. Doesn't look like we need to do much trimming at all. And now we're going to cut this into our cubes. Depending on the shape of it, you may cut long strips or you may chunk it this way. Whatever looks best for what you're trying to do. This end piece here could be one cut. So that's one chunk. We want each one of our chunks to be about 1.75 to 2 ounces. And we want them to be uniform. So here I have this piece that I can cut now into chunks. Sometimes you end up with a little piece here that's just not quite usable, and that's okay. put that into our trim pile because we can use that trim pile for other things. Right? To double check your cutting, always take this and put it over onto a scale so that we can see exactly the size of each piece. You go through and cut the entire piece like that until you end up with your pile of usable pieces, your scrap meat that needs to get diced and put into some other dish. This pile of fat that we initially cut is not usable for anything, so that's trash. This piece here is a little bit thin, but this one will work if we skewer it like that. Put that in the usable trim. So out of that whole piece of scrap tips, you can see this is the scrap. This is the trim that we're going to use in a different dish, and this is all of our steak tip. And also go back and double check our cutting. Make sure that the pieces are about 1.75 ounces. And these ones here all check out, so we're good to go. Thank you.